analyzing the game.
Game plan was great.
The players.
I would want him to be a runner like Mahomes.
The plays.
That is a massive, massive mistake.
And each
The more
other.
I think about it, the more I'm fine.
Zolak and Bertrand, the Sports Hub.
Mike Vrabel got to catch hella heat at this point in time. Because if you can't lead yourself, how can you lead a group of men? This was no longer a mistake, T. This was now continued, willing, wild action. You're on a boat while married with another married woman who is pregnant. Child, we don't know who's the father, so I won't assume. And you doing this in the midst of your coaching tenure. T, how can you expect all 53, because several of the 53 will, but how can you expect all 53 to adhere to the off-field advice, not on-field advice? How can you expect all 53 men to adhere to the off-field advice of a man who, for at minimum 6 years, continued in a, if not affair, wildly disrespectful relationship to his wife, his kids, her husband, her pregnant child, and herself? How can you expect players, T, to follow his off-field instruction?
I just know that if someone is told to clean up their act off the field, and if they're the type of player that needs to be told that, they're probably not of great judgment to begin with. I know what the first thing is that they're going to say back to that coach. Yeah, whatever, Mike. Yeah, what do you got going on off the field?
Say Barmore next year.
Anybody, any player that finds himself in a situation where a coach has to speak to him and say, "Hey, noticing this or that, you got to clean it up a little bit. All right, let's make good decisions." He's gonna say, "Oh, good decisions, coach. How many good decisions you've been making lately?" I mean, that's the first place it would go.
Do you jump?
What have you been doing, Mike? Tell me to make good decisions, because those guys who are making bad decisions will continue to make bad decisions, including in their personal interactions with anybody.
I agree with that.
Right? Those are the types of guys who would talk back and be an a-hole because they don't like being told what to do. It's why they're out making stupid decisions to begin with. And so you can speak to this better than we can. How many times in a season does a player on a 53-man roster that also is not the same 53,
right,
a bunch of guys at the end of that roster that rotate, practice squad, how many players in a group that large do stupid stuff over the course of a season?
Some do it every day, but not to the point it gets to the press. But like, it's the whole Diggs thing. Like, everybody goes around and asks him, like, would you let him date? Who's the one player you wouldn't let date your sister? And everybody's like, Diggs. Like, everybody. By the time, I'd say you get to October, you have a whole camp with people. You get through preseason, then you get through your first month. You know the guys, and you know which guys are you avoid to say go out with. Or get close to, because you develop cliques within that locker room. I mean, I could write a hell of a book.
I know.
Like, I know, Jeff, I'll write that. Like, those were easy stories. Like, some of the stuff I've seen and heard. And again, like, Bill Parcells, he had his wife Judy up there. Then next thing you know, he's got a girlfriend. Then next thing you know, they're divorced. But when we sit here and we document Bill Belichick and all his relationships, Ray Perkins married a young woman that was a girlfriend of one of my teammates. Like,
that's wild.
But like, it doesn't reach.
Wasn't there something about cooking in there?
Oh, yeah, that's another story that would be in the book.
Oh, I knew there was something about cooking.
You know what we would title that?
I don't think she cooked.
Here's what we would do.
It's a problem.
We would name that part of the book Chapter 3, entitled "Sit Down."
Oh, sit down.
Without any more explanation, but those relationships never hit this. This is different. We're in a different day and age. This is 2026. Shoot, when I played, there was no internet. There were no cell phones.
Right.
There was the Motorola flip phone, and you could not take pictures with that.
So as Mike Giardi reported on the 28th of April for Boston Sports Journal, he said that Vrabel had waited to address the media and the public about everything that was going on, and it was going into the voluntary off-season workouts a couple weeks ago. He had the initial conversation, and Giardi writes, "I'm told the initial conversation went about as well as could be expected with players. It went pretty well.
All right.
Guys were like, we get it. It's cool, whatever." He then writes, "But when more information came to light," which was when Vrabel all of a sudden was stepping away, when we started to get more, He said Vrabel felt the need to speak to the players and the media again. The internal response to that wasn't as forgiving. So he went back to the same way he had that press conference on that Friday.
Right.
He went back to his players a second time, and the second time the message wasn't landing as well as it was the first time.
Was this to the point where that was the week the information came out about the boat privately to both sides, and then he knew it was going to become public, and they say, hey, we're going to run with this. Then he had to go home and maybe speak to somebody, and then next thing you know, the third day he's gone, and then he's back. Like then I just think like the boat, whatever you believe in his story, I think the timelines of it and the way and how many months she was pregnant sort of you put that puzzle together, and players aren't stupid. So if you didn't tell them everything at first, maybe that he shouldn't have to keep meeting with these teams the more and more information that comes out.
The stuff that came out in that week was remember the casino pictures came out?
Yes.
That was the next thing that dropped. So that was.
I heard like a rumor there was a friend of hers had that. That was a picture from one of her friends that was in a casino. That was going around at that time. We didn't talk about that. So.
Well, there was also the
bar pictures, right?
The bar photos.
That's combine. That's so normal from a combine. That's the one thing you can look at and say, this is ridiculous.
The bar photos? When they're like making out and stuff?
No, that's a casino, isn't it?
No, they all came out that week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That all came out.
The one bar was a combine. I think it was at the...
those were the first ones. I'm with you on that one.
I sat at that bar. I think that's like Champions at the base of the Marriott Marquis. That's the biggest hotel.
The next ones, though.
When did those... The bar photos dropped on the 25th?
That was the...
Or 24th, whatever day that was. It was like the Friday of the draft, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's when or the Thursday, because I think he spoke. The bar photos were Thursday, day one of the draft, and then he spoke before round one. Because that's the day that it felt like it was kind of snowballing.
Yeah, not only snowballing. I think he knew and the team knew he had to speak before you bring the rookies in. And they have to address this without even knowing the guy. That's
23rd. That dumped on the 23rd. All of it did. The bar photos, the casino photos, that all came in a flurry in a 24-hour window. He had to go back to them and say, well... Yeah, this is. So my guess is he told them in the beginning it was just an error in judgment, quick mistake, whatever. And then all of a sudden there's photos of them kissing 6 years ago. Face to face. And you're like, whoa. Coach, that wasn't. Yeah, that feels like something that it wasn't. That you told us it was.
You
told us it was an error in judgment, one-time mistake. It feels like that's not quite the truth.
Well, it's kind of embarrassing for him, too, to do that for the team, too, and, to get into details. I get that, but, the more and more of these photos come out, like Florio, I heard you guys talking about Florio. He's been on it since day one. And he keeps saying, too, as long as there's not more photos, more videos, and then next thing you know, Schefter this week, he'll be back unless you keep continuing to get things and we find out more about this story as far as being the head coach. And I do think he'll be the head coach next year. I think I'll put some money on that.
Ron in Texas. Hey, Ron.
Boys, it's going to be a hell of a Mother's Day this weekend at 30 Diane.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
The million-dollar question is Vrabel going to survive this? And the Rosetta Stone to that whole thing is how honest was he with Kraft in the very beginning? Forget about what he said to the players for now. Was he honest with Kraft? Did he cop to it and say, hey, there's more to this? This could get uglier? Given Kraft's reaction in that documentary with Aaron Hernandez, the Apple one, he talked about people lying to him. I think that's a big deal. And I think if Vrabel was honest up front, I think he's going to be good.
That's an interesting point you bring up with. What was it that Robert referred to with Aaron? That
got duped.
I got duped. What a real sucker I am. And then he had to do the same thing with Belichick. I was told something. Now all of a sudden you find out, boy, am I a sucker. He hates being that. So I would think Mike would have been honest with him.
I hope.
Because I think
that could help him.
They're very tight. Yes.
Just to tell him everything that was going on and say, buckle up.
Yep.
This could get bad. Noah's in Pepperell. Hey, Noah.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Happy Friday. 2 quick points for you. One, when it comes to the speculations on a private investigator who's leaking all of this, I don't believe in any of that. The problem is when you come out and you call the media, liars and that you're spreading slander and it turns out you've been carrying on a 6-year relationship, they don't take kindly to that, and they're going to bury you for that. My second point is this whole story with the boat and the pregnancy thing. I think is the first time that it really brings up a question in terms of Mike's judgment, just in general. I mean, what are you doing renting a boat in the state in which you coach a football team with a woman who's clearly pregnant? That's some crazy decision making.
I mean, it's bad no matter where it was, Noah. It's just worse that it was right there in his own backyard.
Yeah. It's almost so brazen that they feel like they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel your power, your ego. He's got that swagger to him, man.
Dave's in Acushnet. Hi, Dave.
Hey, fellas. I have a question for Scott Zolak.
Yes, sir.
Since he played in the NFL. How relevant is the coach during preseason training, like all these rookie camp and veterans come in and work out? Like, is the coach pretty relevant during those times when that's going on?
I think it's one of the most important times.
Yeah, because I'm just curious. One way we might be able to see if he still got his job is if he's at Foxborough participating with the players in all these events.
Yeah, he's buried in and out down there. Yes, every day. Yep. Because you got OTAs coming, you got mini camp coming up here in June. Then you have the month break, and then then it really hits you in July because everybody's in, and these are the kids he picked. Like that, I think that's why a lot of people look at that day 3 draft where you had 7 to 8 picks. Mm-hmm. I think it was 8 picks. Edelman was picked in that area. Brady was picked in that area. You just don't dismiss those type of picks. You can find gems there. Especially if you're good at scouting, especially if you think you know football. And I think Mike does know that. I think the people around him do. I think it benefits him. The entire staff is pretty much coming back. He's not reset. Now I got to get these guys up and running as the way I do things. No, you're going right into year 2. It's just carryover. That's very rare for a team that goes, 14-3 in a regular season. Like, you get your staff picked from. Took Pittsburgh forever to find Mike McCarthy. Like that. You wait. They didn't go after anybody on Vrabel's staff. Josh had his opportunities. I still think they're looking at him. I think some teams will look at him and say, maybe his head coach material. Say Drake May goes out and wins the MVP this year. I think it's year after that where Josh could be gone. And then as a team, you got to make a decision. Well, we can't let that happen. Then we're going to raise his salary. Just in case something like this hits the next year. That's the tough part.
Let's pick it up with more of your calls, and then we will, later this hour, get into some of the Celtics' reaction to the things Jaylen Brown has been saying in recent days. You're fired up about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Got some takes.
Oh, yeah.
So thought he was going to be able to get off the hook with the Vrabel discussion possibly winding down. Not so fast. Don't go anywhere. It's a Finish Strong Friday presented by 128 Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric, the company that finishes every job strong. You're listening to the number 1 sports station in Boston, so why settle for anything other than the number 1 home services company in Boston? Book your air conditioning tune-up today at call128.com.
No matter where.
Smoking meats in the Fenway.
No matter when.
Here we go. Ad-lib time.
That's awesome.
Zolak and Bertrand, the Sports Hub.
Right to your phones as promised. 617-779-0985. Jeff at work today. Hi, Jeff.
Hi. I'm still, hey, shout out to T-Bone for that rock the boat. Just cracked everyone at work up. But
and what he just played right there very briefly was Part-Time Lover, I believe. Was that Part-Time Lover? I thought it was.
This was the last segment.
We know. He's got quite the playlist going.
Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby.
Yeah, we already covered that.
I broke that story yesterday on Felger and Mass as he had to address the team twice. And if he lied the first time and he has to lie another time, like, It has to have. There's an elephant in the room in that entire stadium. There's an elephant in your room right now. So
there is.
It's going. Oh yeah, it's a big elephant over there.
Tyler,
and he's doing a great job, but you can hear it in his voice. You can hear it in your voice.
You think Zoe's cracking?
No, I just think
he is.
The point of being gross and
yes
And no, it's to the point of being gross, and people are going to stray away from Vrabes. And if you defend that man, you might be hurting your own self. That's what I think.
Okay.
I'm not defending any action he did. I said the pictures speak for themselves. And then now, I think the boat thing, and I heard Mass talk about this yesterday, and Felger kept pressing him. Well, why is this bad? He's just, Mike, it's just that's a bad look, just from a morality.
I think Felger fully grasps. I heard a little bit. I was in here for a while yesterday.
Yeah.
He fully grasps the seriousness of the pregnant woman element.
The look.
It's like
the look of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you were borderline, now you hear that, look, that stuff's hard to defend.
You can't.
Hard to defend.
You just can't. You can't. There's just.
And here we are judging morality. That's part of the issue.
Which
too.
I in the beginning, this was just about how does it impact the football team, but then you start seeing that, and you're like, oh.
Wow, this is
Do you think the same of the guy when you see things like that? Like, it's hard because you just start thinking about the entire situation.
It's
and
hard
how little
too.
respect you have for it.
I mean, it's because he's such a polarizing, like, and I keep saying it, he has an aura about him, but like he's just so in command, and like you really respect that. And he's worked so hard, with all the different levels he's traveled to, whether it was Ohio State, the Texans, paid his dues, became the head coach of the Titans. Then he go on a run, get to an AFC title game. Then he come here and you get to the Super Bowl first year. That dude, that gives you a presence. And sometimes you start chipping away at it. When these sort of things, come to be.
I do think winning masks a lot of what we're talking about, though.
Goddamn right it does.
Like, if you're successful and are winning football games,
you said it earlier.
I do think you command that locker room in a way. Like, now, if you're losing, I think people can second guess you. You're in a lot of trouble, no doubt. But if you win, like, I look at Rick Pitino at St. John's. You think St. John's has any regrets for hiring him?
Hell no. You do?
You win at a high. No, I'm with you. No shot. Yeah. You win at a high level and you're successful. I think people kind of look the other way. Now, you're always going to have those Twitter jokes and stuff like that. That's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. But control the locker room, I think if you're winning, and you should be able to win with Drake May as your quarterback, I think a lot of that stuff kind of takes care of itself.
The quick impact and the effect it had on the team, it goes a long way. It really does.
Sean in Marlboro. Hi, Sean.
Hey, I actually think, Zoe, you're wrong about something. You mentioned Cincinnati specifically. I think if think about Alex Core. He was caught on-field cheating.
Yep.
If Vrabel loses his job, let's say, he has a job probably not this year, but next year with Cincinnati, Vegas, Dallas.
Yep.
There's teams out there, they're going to hire him in a heartbeat. So what's the point of the Pats firing him if he's just going to get a job back in the league?
No, that wasn't the point. I was just saying, if all this unraveled as the head coach of like Cincinnati, where they really haven't had issues they've had to deal with like off the field, this team here, as Beetle mentions, they're the most polarizing team in the NFL.
No, but to get to his point, if he were to get fired, would he have another job lined up pretty quickly?
Yeah.
And so I think that is another one in the column of, we're not doing that. We're not firing him.
Right.
He's not unhireable.
It's like
at this point by another team.
It's like the Christian Gonzalez.
Like Gerard Mayo. You fired Gerard Mayo for football reasons, of course. You're like, that guy's not getting hired anywhere. He's toast.
Correct.
Mike Vrabel, totally different.
Heart's in it. He is a football guy, 24/7. And like I say with Gonzalez, why would you ever trade him for 2 first-round picks when you have no clue what those picks will be if you hit him on the bus? When you have the guy, you have the guy. You got the quarterback, you got the corner, you pay them. You got the head coach. You got the best combo going right now, Vrabel and Drake May. That's huge.
Nick is in Plymouth. Hi, Nick.
Hey, guys. I like how you guys are exploring all these scenarios, like why wasn't this reported when he was Tennessee? Why would this be, if this would be a report, if it was any other coach? Like, do you think if last year we were at the 50% mark, if we had lost over 8-10 games and didn't make the Super Bowl or even make it to the playoffs, would this happen? Because it didn't happen during the season or the playoffs. Why would they hold these pictures that supposedly even TMZ knew about from years ago and decide to push it out now?
Well, we don't know that they did know about these photos from years ago. The photos that sort of broke the dam here to get this started was photos that were taken back in March. Was it February or March? League meetings.
March.
Yeah. Back in March.
Yep.
And so once that happened, then I think that there were the other photos that came sort of into their orbit, if you will. Frank is in Sandwich. Hi, Frank.
Hey, guys, here's what would bother me if I had any interaction with Vrabel. When backed in a corner, his absolute first instinct was to lie. And to me, that people whose instinct is to lie initially shows a real lack of character and someone that I simply could never believe.
Possibly. Which is why I think that question earlier was important. If it had happened 2 weeks later and his team was standing there and he lied to the team, that would have been bad. But he never had that opportunity to lie to the team. And I think a public statement to the New York Post, I think people can overlook that. If personally, behind the scenes, one-on-one, he's being honest with people.
Yeah.
Including his owner.
Correct.
That's a big one.
How about his friends?
His friends.
Over the years. He's got really good friends. You see him on the road with each other. Like, I would never believe, like, one of my buddies, like, this would happen. That didn't happen. And, like, is he getting calls from them? Like, hey, man, hang in there. Like, you just keep getting reminded about it every day. It's on every day. Wake up to it. We're talking about it every day at the start of the show.
I was reading that story, good story about Vrabel. I forget who wrote it right around the time of the Super Bowl about those close friends of his that he's still friends with to this day. That, they talk every day. Those guys were coming to the Super Bowl. There was a good story in there about Mike Vrabel once helping one of his buddies who his family was in the funeral home business. And he had a big guy who had passed away, and he called Mike Vrabel to help him move the body. And Vrabel was like, I don't really know. But then he did. It was a good story about how he's got, friends that he's had lifelong friends.
Core friends.
Yeah. You think they didn't know?
I don't think they knew.
You talk to them?
No.
You know them?
No, I'm just saying, based on his first reaction, like, this is laughable. There's no story here. Like, that's a panic defense to defend your wife.
Might know, though.
I wouldn't go tell him. I don't know.
Have you seen the Taylor Lewan clip on the podcast when he talks about the mustache?
No.
You guys seen that one? That's been floating around the socials. Where he's asking about how the mustache plays and the opinions of and he goes, oh, never mind. He pivots.
Well, he grew one hair in November.
And you think he's talking about, if you watch it, you start to think, wait, is he aware of the relationship?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What's the mustache have anything to do with it?
Because talking about how does so and so like it, not like it. Talking about, you would assume his wife, does she like it or not? The mustache.
That depends.
And Luan immediately pivots and is like, no, never mind, don't answer that, and moves on. It's weird. It's a weird clip, man.
Well, mustaches in general are weird.
I don't know if that's the point of it.
Yeah, that's the point of this.
You start talking to somebody, look like you got food in your mustache. That's right here.
You're doing a great job with that mustache.
Thank you.
What
getting mixed reviews, but I think it's grown.
Don't say Jen.
Yeah, don't say Jen. Yeah. And he kind of moves on.
Go on.
Yeah, it's just a weird clip.
Yeah. My wife hates it, but my girlfriend loves it.
Keep half of one.
Huh?
Keep half a stash. No. Nobody has the balls to rock that.
It's like the parent who has two NFL players on two different teams and splits the jersey.
Split jersey. Yeah.
Of course, split stash. Patty in Auburn. Hi, Patty. Good morning.
Good morning, boys.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
I feel this way. At the end of football season, for many years, and I am 84, I have football withdrawal because I just love it so much. I do feel Mr. Vrabel and his honey are morally twisted. And I feel that both of them should walk out the door and leave their families at peace. And one more thing. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers who are here and those who have left us.
Excellent.
And thank you so much for your program. I enjoy it every day.
Wow.
Love you guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Patty.
Thanks, Patty.
Thank you, Patty. That's very nice. Thank you.
Hey, Patty Page. Yeah.
And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Thankless job sometimes.
Big weekend.
Yep.
Big weekend.
Huge.
Zoe's going to spend it spreading mulch.
Nope.
No?
No?
Mulch this weekend?
No. Mulch gets delivered Monday. My boy Max, who's good friends with...
Monday after the celebration.
Yes. Max, who's good friends with Mike Albert, he takes care of spreading it. He's got the big equipment, so he will start spreading it on Tuesday.
Look at you.
Yeah, that should be all banged out by Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be looking nice.
All right, thank you for the call, Patty. Appreciate it. Let's talk a little Jaylen Brown. Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll talk about
What
Jaylen
are
Brown.
you smiling at?
Oh, you seem excited. Yeah.
Ready to go. Let's go.
He's thrilled.
Red Sox lost last night. Winning streak's over.
They did. They did lose last night. They're a painful watch, man.
Yeah, they are.
They're starting to get hard to watch.
Joe Murray, he talked to another Revs guy. We did some Revs talk this week. It was fun. Joe was talking about food last night. I called in to talk to Skaz.
I was even calling to talk about food. I wanted to call Skaz and ask him how was Tatum's game 7. I was a box score. It was a triple-double, Skaz.
How's your head coach doing, Zoe?
Goal, Skaz. Shot across the bow from Skaz. Score one for Skaz. Let's get into the Celtics, the Jaylen Brown conversation. It's on the way next.
We're back with more Zolak Bertrand.
Those are the things I'm working on with third graders.
On the Sports Hub.
Something, or is it a big nothing?
Oh, it's everything. It's everything. First of all, my advice to Jaylen Brown is to go on vacation, bro. Go on vacation. Like, quit doubling down because you're making matters worse. That's the first thing. Second thing is, let me tell you why it's everything. Because, one, T-Mac and Jaylen Brown have a personal relationship. So a few people has dropped the ball in this situation. One was T-Mac on this podcast, and I love T-Mac. Because for him to say that, where are you getting that information from? Now, the one thing I do a lot is I'm going to watch Wilborn every day. I'm going to watch Stephen A. every day. I'm going to watch what y'all do say on social media. I'm fans. I also watch Jaylen Brown. And I didn't see him throughout the whole course of this season be on his live stream. And I tune in and I listen. And the fan base has been asking him, hey, man, when is Jason Tatum coming on? And all he kept saying is, oh, he's going to come. He's going to come. JT was just busy, X, Y, and Z. Well, he still haven't came on. He took a back seat, JB, and let you be the Batman of this car that you was driving. And you excited? And you're talking about this is the best season after you home in the first round?
Kendrick Perkins talking about Jaylen Brown, doubling down, talking about what Jaylen Brown has been saying. And Perk's not happy with that double down on it being his favorite season, which I can understand. I can understand why anybody would raise an eyebrow and think it was silly to say it in the first place and crazy to say it again and tell everyone I'm standing by it and click it up, as he was saying a couple of days ago. I'm glad that Kendrick Perkins is also mentioning the Tracy McGrady element to this, because Jaylen Brown did not go after Tracy McGrady on that live stream 2 days ago. He should have. If he's upset about what Brad Stevens was asked about in the press conference, he probably should have said something about Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter.
My initial reaction was he's happy that got out, and his agent probably called him and said, hey, for us to continue to accelerate this thing, you've got to bring that back a little bit. And I thought Perk brought up a great point.
No. Why? Why does he have to publicly do it? He can play the victim in this if he gets moved, saying, I didn't want to get moved. If it were up to me, I would have been a Celtic for 10. I think it's all part of his plan.
Sure it is. Absolutely.
He never likes to be the bad guy. He never wants to be blamed for anything. He's very aware of what's being written about him, said about him, etc. He's shooting back in a Twitter war with Stephen A. Smith yesterday. And I would just say that I don't believe him. Do you believe him? What's more believable? We got a great question last night on NBC Sports Boston on the Trenny program.
Was that what happened?
More believable, Kyrie when he told Celtics fans he was staying, or Jaylen Brown saying he wants to be a Celtic if it were up to him for the next 10 years?
Kyrie won in the moment.
I'm with you, 100%. It was so much more believable.
That went south real fast, though.
But in the moment, did you have any doubts?
No. You thought that confirmed that he was back. Yeah.
There were no doubts then in that moment, in the days following. This, I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical because then there's this, too. You got to follow all this crap on Instagram. There's a post from NBA on ESPN. Get Up on ESPN is tagged as well on Instagram with a quote from Alan Hahn. And he said, if you have to break it up, it's Tatum that'd be the guy you would want to trade, not Jaylen Brown.
I agree.
That of course you do. That's one man's take. And you know who liked the post?
Of course.
T-Mac liked the post. So here we go again with Tracy McGrady, close friend and mentor of Jaylen Brown. Is he out there doing his bidding? What the hell is going on? So, if it were up to me, I'd love to stay in Boston, and I'd like for you to get rid of Jason Tatum. Is that part two that's not? Is that the quiet part that's not being said out loud right now? That I just want to be wherever I'm the man.
That's why this was his favorite year. He was the man. This is like Aaron Rodgers winning the MVP and his team didn't win in the playoffs. I love this award. I deserve this award. You know, it was an NFL honors. I'm like, this is weird.
The last 2 weeks have totally flipped me on this situation. You know, I was staunchly against trading one of these guys.
Welcome aboard.
And I am now. That's it. I'm out, man. Break it up. It's over. It's over. Window's over. They underachieved. They come up short more often than not as a duo. Break it up. You're going to lose the trade. Accept that you're going to lose the trade. Accept that the return will not be as good as what you had from a talent perspective. But also understand you're doing it because these guys can't break through, and their mentalities are probably both off a little bit. And so you got to get someone with a better mentality in the mix.
Yep.
And I don't think it's either one of these guys. And I fault Tatum for that too.
Sure.
Okay? And you know I'm a Tatum guy. But I don't think either one of them has it totally right.
I thought the point Perk brought up about, you know, people keep saying, hey, man, when do you have JT on your podcast? Oh, he's coming on. I bet that bugs him to have to answer those comments. And Taylor Swift went on the Kelsey's podcast. Like, if you can get Taylor Swift on, but you can't get JT on, come on. He should have been on already. That's his boy. Hey, help me out on this podcast, man. I'm trying to get this thing going. If you're really tight with him, you do it. I think the two guys function together. I really do. I don't think they're the best of friends. Because I think he wants what JT has. I think he feels he's earned it, which is even tougher.
Right, which would make sense why Jaylen Brown's frustrations are apparently with the Celtics and not with Jason Tatum himself. He doesn't blame Tatum. He blames the team for not propping him up more.
And the whole way they roll it out. You know, he's the signage.
For not running the offense through him after JT's return, I assume. We're just trying to fill in those blanks of what Tracy McGrady said, which Jaylen Brown denies, and we will tell you that, and we will play that for you. He denies that, but I'm skeptical.
I don't know. You don't have to publicly call out T-Mac if you have a good relationship with him, but wouldn't you like privately be like, dude, can you not put me in that spot again? And for him to come out and like an Instagram post like that right after too, I do think that leads to like, all right, so what are your true feelings when it comes to this? Because I think T-Mac probably knows it better than the public does.
If you're going to start calling out Stephen A. Smith publicly, then why can't you do it for T-Mac? That's all. I mean, why is it? Why are you going after Stephen A. Smith? If that's the kind of thing you want to engage in, well, I get someone you can call out. Or not call him out. Just say he's got bad info. I don't know where he heard that, but he didn't hear it from me. Could say that. He could deny it. He could shut that down. He could respond to the question that Brad Stevens was forced to respond to. Which is, well, okay, you're upset about this and you're making it out to be a media creation. Are you going to mention that the media guy who said it is your buddy?
Is your guy.
Yeah. And your guy? Is that going to get a mention in there? That's why I just find all of it so freaking fraudulent.
Brad's not stupid.
Like, come on. Yeah. Have a little bit more honesty in this conversation if that's what you want to do.
Yep.
We'll pick it up with your thoughts on this. 617-779-0985 right after this.
Zolak.
I got a pillow over my head.
Bertrand.
Doesn't make it normal.
The Sports Hub.
For Jaylen Brown, it was very confusing because a lot of people were saying, hey, he's carrying that Boston Celtics team. But their record this season without Jaylen Brown was fantastic. They were still a 50-win team and even better without him in uniform. And then you go to the in-game, on-court, off-court metrics, and it does not paint a pretty picture about Jaylen Brown's ability to win games.
And just to be clear for people, offensively, with him and without him, they were roughly the same. It was too close to be like, oh, they were worse without him on offense, right? That would be a bit dishonest. But defensively, the gap was a little bit bigger. They were better defensively without him. And in this postseason, they were way better when he was not on the floor than when he was on the floor. And looking at those numbers and them being combined with the sort of things he was saying about enjoying this season the most out of any other season, I would love to know how the rest of the Celtics felt about this, because even if they aren't necessarily looking at the numbers, they know intuitively, hey, man, we're actually better when he's not here.
Wow.
You're not on board with that?
Well, what do you think? Trade him then, because they are numbers people. We know that. We get the shot percentages, 3-point defense, all that stuff.
Tom Haberstow and Bomani Jones, by the way, in that clip.
Wow.
Better off without Jaylen.
I'd trade him. Get rid of him. If you're so much better, do yourself a favor. Trade him in the Eastern Conference.
The Giannis deal makes the most sense to me.
Yep.
It makes sense for both teams, in my opinion.
What's Giannis going to play here if Jaylen Brown's not here?
What do you mean?
Is he going to handle the ball?
Yeah, I think he's going to do a lot of the same things he does in Milwaukee. And you're going to build this thing around him, and he's going to give you more.
Tatum's going to defer to him?
I don't know if he's going to defer to him, but I do think Brad Stevens kind of told you as well, like we need easier shots in the postseason.
Huh?
And
60% of Giannis's shots are in the restricted area.
Those are easier shots.
60%.
There's your numbers game.
Here's your guy. There he is.
There he is. Go get him.
You want to change your style.
Yeah,
you like dunks.
Do it.
But you're also not removing the other element that you do like, which is the guys who can shoot. You're basically diversifying what your offense can do by adding Giannis.
We have a secondary punch now, right?
Yes.
It's a situational. I mean, it's a shift for the organization, like in what we believe in and how we play the game.
No, not necessarily.
Really?
It's just that you're adding another way of playing and making it easier to play in a different way.
You're going to get a lot of wide open threes if Giannis is on your team. And he's going to kick those things out. So I don't think the threes are necessarily going to go away. But again, you do have an alternative now if they aren't falling, which you clearly don't have right now because it's led to 3 postseason losses in the last 4 years.
I mean, the reality is Brown and Tatum are too similar.
Yeah, a little bit of that. I believe that.
I'm not saying they're the same. I'm not saying they're the same exact player. They're definitely not. But Tatum versus Giannis,
yep,
and Tatum versus Brown, like that, you have very different players if you have Giannis and Tatum. The pieces certainly fit better. That puzzle goes together nice, tight, neatly.
Yeah,
you're not wondering if you have the right piece or not. Like this fits, but it. I don't.
They kind of fit, but like them. One guy's an alpha, one guy's
this piece
not.
of the blue sky here. I mean, yeah, they're the same
Start
color.
breaking out the scissors.
But it's like
we need more clouds.
Doesn't that fit to those?
Shaving off a little bit of that.
Do you want 2 alphas? Is that what you're looking for? Don't you? Shouldn't you have a guy?
I mean, you do have a guy who's here and is like established and is the guy in Boston. But don't you have 2 guys that want to be alphas already?
I think after this season you do.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that Tatum on the court, off the court, is going to have more respect for Brown and more respect for Giannis? He would allow himself to defer to Giannis. He's never going to do that to Brown.
No, that's my question.
He's never going to do that.
Right.
So that's why I think it would, from a relationship standpoint, would work better. I'm talking myself into this is happening now.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, Brown for Giannis. Done deal. Get it done. It'll happen soon.
Now I got to watch Bucks games.
Good luck. Let's go to Ralph. He's in Cranston today. Hey, Ralph.
Hey, guys. Look, Milwaukee, first of all, is not going to get fair value for Giannis. It does not happen. Chamberlain was traded twice. Jabbar was traded. The Lakers picked up Shaq. They all won championships for the teams. They went, look at the little that they got for these guys. Now, if you can get Brown, who you hit the nail on the head. His problem is not with Tatum. His problem is he wants to be the guy, and his trade value even went up because he was the guy this year. He does not want to be second fiddle. Tatum could do it. If you can make that trade and you can do Brown, and they say, well, can you do something else, maybe a couple of draft picks, or maybe involve another team, a third team in here, and you get Giannis. Now, I don't say give up Pritchard, but if you got Giannis and Tatum together, Tatum will do, as you just said, anything to make this work. And I feel they'll be the favorite, and they will win the NBA championship next year with that team. And you'll get a rebounder you need. You'll get this forceful guy you need. I do that in a heartbeat to make this move. And it's Brown, not Tatum. Sorry, Zoe. I get rid of Brown and say, you know what? I said it earlier in the year with you guys. I said, I don't think it's going to be long-term with those two. I just don't think it is.
Well, I think
they're both approaching 30 now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have thought that for a long time. And I think that point that Ralph makes at the end, which is they're both approaching 30. Can you afford to wait until they're 33 that it wasn't the right fit?
No.
I don't think you can.
No.
And I don't think you should.
Obviously, Brad feels something's not right with this team, right? What a great year. The play was down. Competition was down. It's going to be better next year. We got to get better players. That really, that took a leak on, I think, Jaylen Brown's season. Because he felt it was so special. His favorite. And there's your GM speaking about it that way. That's the type of guy that doesn't forget things. So I think you keep this thing rolling with T-Mac. The ground's been laid. You're right. It's sort of heading towards it.
Let's go to hold on, give me a second.
Where are we going?
We're going old.
What what does Bill Chisholm think?
This is either a typo or this is Lawrence in Lawrence. Lawrence and Lawrence?
Yeah, there's no chance Jaylen Brown is going to play with Giannis.
Well, that's
he
not
called
what
him a child.
Yeah, that's not what we're proposing. Oh, and I get what you're saying. That's why it couldn't be JT. It would have to be Brown.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone thinks that it would be Tatum being moved for Giannis.
Tatum is not going
If you're
anywhere.
moving Tatum, let's play it out. If you're moving Tatum, do you think you would ever move him for Giannis? No, not enough. No way. If you're moving Tatum, who is viewed, universally in this league as a superior player, you're doing something really dramatic for what you. That's the Cooper Flag deal, right?
Yeah.
As people like to fantasize about.
Mm-hmm.
I get those emails every day. Trade Tatum for Cooper Flag. Yeah, right. Come on. It's not going to happen. But that's what it would be.
How many guys would you trade him for?
Not many. I mean, me, none. I'm not moving them. I'm not going to move them. Let's get to headlines. We'll be right back here on Zolak and Bertrand. Stay tuned.